All right, so let's just take a little look at our ion practice that we have going over here. So we have some good information. So an ion, it's an atom with an overall charge because it doesn't have the same number of protons and electrons. So right, I've either gained or lost electrons. Specifically, I have anions and cations. So an anion is an ion with a negative charge. So I've added electrons, right? Because electrons are negative. So if I have more of them, my ion's going to be negative. A cation is an ion with an overall positive charge. So I have less electrons. I have less of those negatives and more protons, so more of the positives. Right? Those are my two types of ions. And that's kind of what we're going to look at over here. So we have to determine the overall charge and then what my element symbol would be. So you have two examples up here. I'll look at kind of the first two that are not done. Okay, or maybe I'll do the first one, then I'll pick another random one that's a little bit different. So if we look at the first one, all right, we know a couple things. So we can see that I have 12 protons, right? So that's positive 12, because protons have a positive charge. But I only have 10 electrons, right? Electrons have a negative charge, so that'd be negative 10. So if I add these two things together, right, 12 plus negative 10, or 12 minus 10, I would see that I'm going to have a charge of plus 2, right? I have 2 more protons than I do electrons. So that means whatever element I have is going to have a positive 2 charge. Remember that I can figure out what element that I have based off of the number of protons, because the number of protons is my atomic number. So if you go and you find number 12 on the periodic table, see it's magnesium, so Mg. So I would just write Mg plus 2, because there's a positive 2 charge, right? It's not neutral. If it has a positive charge, I want to know, is it neutral, a cation, or an anion? So cation means when it has an overall positive charge, which this one does. So I would put a C there for cation. And that was number 1. Let's look down here, maybe number 5. All right, 5 gives you the element and its charge. So let's kind of work backwards a little bit. First thing is, again, it's a positively charged ion. So I know that's going to be a cation. So I can go ahead and put a C right there. I gave me the charge right on the symbol. So I know I have a plus 3 charge because I have Al plus 3. I just need to know how many protons do I have, how many electrons do I have. So I know that my number of protons is always going to be the atomic number, right? I'm not going to change my number of protons because that changes the element. So aluminum, if you look at a periodic table, aluminum has 13 protons. That's going to be plus 13, right? That's 13 positive charges in this atom. If it has a charge of plus 3, I need to figure out what could I add to 13 to get 3. And the answer is going to be minus 10, right? If I do 13 minus 10, I'm going to get positive 3, which is my charge. So I'm kind of just working backwards. It's like solving a very basic algebra equation, right? 13 plus x equals 3. So I get negative 10. And your electrons are always going to be this minus charge. Protons are always going to be this positive charge. Hopefully this helped. Look at it a little bit. Give it your best shot. All right, that's all we're looking for is a little bit of effort. See how you're doing with it. But you can always email me with any questions that you have.